What's good? Welcome back. Today I'm going over carnitine. I'm going to go over the general setup of how, why, when to use it, and where I see the most benefits, both physical and mental. And then an important topic I wanted to bring up on carnitine is actually the interaction it has with thyroid. If you use too much, you can actually be negatively affecting your thyroid function. So that's often overlooked, and I really wanted to add that in at the end. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Let's get into it. So this video is going over injectable carnitine. If you want to translate the dosage, it's going to be about 10x. So for example, 3 grams of oral carnitine is going to be equivalent to 300 milligrams of injectable carnitine. Right around there is going to be a rough range, so you can translate that if you're talking oral, but this is mostly going to be focused on injectable, which probably has some different traits to it. But if you're not using injectable, you can maybe kind of translate the dosage. The biggest benefit I see from injectable carnitine is at a low dose right away, anywhere from 50 milligrams to 300 milligrams. Pre-workout, you stack it with a choline source like alpha GPC and you're gonna get huge cognitive benefits. And then secondly, I'm gonna notice the biggest sex drive boost, actually, especially when I'm late into a cycle. So let's say you've been on trend for a while or something that spikes your sex drive at the start, even test. But it seems to level out, So after, at least for me, 8 to 12 weeks of any kind of androgen use, sex drive seems to go back to normal. Or if I'm dieting at an extreme cut, it definitely starts to go down. I notice when I bring in carnitine at around 300 to 400 milligrams a day, I'm going to notice like a huge sex drive, better erections, better erection quality. It seems like that's one of the quickest physical benefits I get from putting in carnitine. And you think it wouldn't be that big of a difference because I got all these androgens in my body. But when I do that, 300 milligrams a day, I notice a big difference in, just sexual performance, sex drive, all the good things related to that. Now, fat loss, which is what everybody is usually interested in, you have to keep in mind that carnitine helps shuttle the fat to use for energy into the mitochondria. And that's not always the rate limiting step, or it's almost never the rate limiting step of your fat loss. That's usually not the issue. Once you have an adequate level of carnitine, which you almost always do, adding in more is not going to accelerate fat loss to an extreme amount. There's things that deplete carnitine that you might be low. When you're dieting, it is gonna obviously have the mobilization ready to go into the mitochondria to use it for fat. And it's also going to help you with beta oxidation, which is basically using fat at rest. It's going to make it easier for that, and also at like low intensity cardio. So it's not always like a huge fat burner, but it is going to aid and definitely not hurt. Now, the time that it could possibly hurt is what I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It's actually used for thyroid storm and to negate the effects of thyroid storm, which is basically when your thyroid is going into overdrive. They use it in hospitals and clinical settings to actually bring your thyroid down and basically deactivate thyroid. So the dosage for that is not high. It's actually in the realm of where we usually dose oral or injectable carnitine. This is independent of taking thyroid medication. What I mean by that is it's your actual thyroid in the body. It doesn't matter if you're taking it medically or if your body produces it. It stops the thyroid from getting into the cell. The dosage for the thyroid storm would be equivalent to 300 milligrams of injectable carnitine. So keep in mind, if you're gonna go over that, you might be getting into affecting your thyroid function. Now, it is a sweet spot. So obviously a low dose or medium dose is going to benefit the thyroid and also benefit carnitine stores if you have high thyroid. But if you get into the upper end, it's going to negatively affect thyroid. And the main problem with this is you actually cannot blood test for this issue, because let's say you superdose carnitine and it's blocking thyroid from getting in the cell. All the thyroid blood markers do not change. Your TSH, your T4, your free T3, it's all consistent in the blood, but it's just not getting into the cell. So you can't know if you're overdosing carnitine and it's affecting your thyroid. That's what really sucks. We wish we could just keep dosing the carnitine up more and more and then you get a blood test on the thyroid and you see a number or a value go in a direction, and then you adjust from there. But we can't do that. Everything carnitine does, it seems to boost, physical performance, not huge, but slightly, in almost like every aspect that we go for. So you can just look it up on whatexamine.com or something. Almost helps everything, just a slight boost. So I would say superdose this in a bulk. And then when you're in a cut, if it's like your first time, you do need to play around with a moderate dose. And if you're really strict on like getting to a certain weight, that's when I would be a little restrictive on just making sure you're not overdosing it. But if you can experiment and just keep bringing the dose up while you're cutting and you notice nothing negative, then I would do it. But for first timers, like I said, keep it anywhere from 200 to 500 milligrams injectable a day. And then if you just want mental cognitive benefits, sexual benefits from like a lower sex drive or just focus in the gym, 50 to 200. Obviously, we could dive way deeper into carnitine, but I just wanted to bring up the things that people don't often talk about with it, especially if it's your first time running it and you're just kind of want to go super high in the dose. It's like anything, just find your sweet spot, titrate it up. If you're not sure, stay in the therapeutic dosage. You know what I mean? It's really that simple. And just keep in mind of the things that it could do to your thyroid, and keep in mind of some of the very good benefits that it has at a lower dosage as well. If you enjoyed the video, you can just let me know by liking and subscribing. That shows that you want to see more. I do appreciate if you watch the whole thing. Hopefully I got you either thinking and you can do your own research, or I just purely informed you. Either way, that's kind of my goal, and I really do appreciate you all for watching.